Hi everyone, and welcome to Adventures in Remote Teaching Video 4. Happy Friday, or Fri-yay as we've come to say. Today I have a couple tips to help with remote teaching, a couple suggestions for self-care, and a puzzle. But first, continuing with our custom, it's Shout Out Friday. And first I want to give a shout out to my film crew, Emerson, my youngest daughter. You'll see we spent some time on set construction, so what's behind me is more scenic. Thank you, Emerson. Here's some other shout outs. Nisa Raker, Cheryl McFerrin, Emily Nemeth, David White, Erica Jefferson, Rob Russo, Peter Burling, and Bob Galoni. Those last three, you'll recollect, are retiring from Denison Athletics. Each one has had a remarkable career as a varsity head coach. I will say, as a member of the Denison community, it's just been a distinct pleasure to know each one of them. And here are some shout outs for a couple offices who are working extremely hard. The Registrar's Office, International Student Services, Admissions, our friends in HR, Financial Aid, Donnie Sendelbach and her team in ETS, and Dina Speranza and her team in ITS. Thank you to everyone for all you do. So here's two tips that might help with remote teaching in the week ahead. These tips circle around the notion of student empowerment. In other words, given the chaotic time in which we find ourselves, if you can think of ways to help your students feel greater agency, they're going to get more learning out of remote learning. One suggestion is to give a survey to your students. You've been doing remote instruction for 2 weeks. Administer an anonymous survey in which you ask students to share with you what they would like to see stop, start, and continue with remote teaching. So simply what this means is students will recommend things they might want to see stop over the remainder of the semester. They'll suggest things that you could start doing that you're currently not, and they'll also name things that they like that they may want you to continue. This feedback can help you to calibrate your instruction in effective ways. Importantly, it underscores that your students have a voice in the learning that you're trying to create together. What's important about this survey is that after you review it, you need to close the loop with your students, talk about what you learned, and indicate how you'll follow through. A second tip that could help with remote teaching over the next week or so is this: share stories. It's really important that your students have a chance to share stories with one another about what they're experiencing, and you try to create a space and a platform for those stories to be heard. And it's also really important that you share your own stories. What's happening to all of us is so profound and so unsettling, and I think it's really important that our students know that we are human and we are feeling this all the way down. So I invite you to think about how you might do that. 2 tips for self-care are these. I'd recommend that you keep a gratitude journal. Just once a day, write down things that you're grateful for, and you'll find that this will build a momentum that I think could be helpful and supportive of the good work that you're doing. The other thing that I'd suggest is to take up a kind of note writing campaign. I borrowed this idea from Jennifer Vestal, and I think it's great. Just identify people. It could be students, it could be friends, colleagues, that you'll write a short note to. Put that note in the mail and send it. And you'll see that this habit also will produce what could be thought of as, good vibes, or just the idea of a kind of positivity that we all need right now. So I mentioned that I had a puzzle, and it's this: how is remote teaching like sidewalk chalk? I get it, you might think they have nothing in common, but here's what I've noticed. On the days when it's sunny and the weather's warmer, kids in my neighborhood and their families are doing drawings with sidewalk chalk. And just to be clear, everyone's observing proper social distancing. 2 things come to mind about the relationship between sidewalk chalk and remote teaching. The first is, as I walk around and look at the drawings, all of them are incredible. Whatever their quality, they're all incredible. The colors, the light, the vibrancy, the energy, the innocence, the hope, all of them are incredible. And I want to say that about your remote teaching. What you are doing is incredible. It is all good work. The other thing about sidewalk chalk drawings are these. The best ones, as much as I can figure, are ones that were done together. In other words, where siblings or families or neighbors, adhering to social distancing, of course, work together to create these sidewalk chalk drawings and the messages of hope and light and possibility that emanate from them. And so I just want to reinforce one more time, we're all in this together. Your students know that, you know that, and we just need to say that out loud so that we remember we're all in this together. I want to end in two ways. The first is to share a quote. This comes from the 19th century abolitionist, journalist, author, and editor Thomas Wentworth Higginson. Among many things he wanted to be in life, he wanted to be a poet. He did the next best thing and became really great friends with Emily Dickinson, a friendship that was maintained in letters of correspondence. One thing Higginson wrote, this was in the Atlantic Monthly in 1862. It's from a piece he authored called Letter to a Young Contributor. And he wrote this: I fancy that in some other realm of existence, we may look back with some kind of interest on this scene of our earlier life and say to one another, do you remember yonder planet where once we went to school? And whether our elective study here lay chiefly in the fields of thought or of action will matter little to us then, when other schools shall have led us through to other disciplines. I believe we're going to get through this, and we're going to get through this together. My wish for you is that you'll take care of yourselves as best you can, and you'll do everything you can to take care of one another. And here's the last way that we'll end. Have a great weekend. Emerson, what do we say?
Like, subscribe, and comment.
Take care, everybody.